Will the virtuous Sangha, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội gặp nhất thiết chúng sanh. Tịnh chuyên diệu pháp luân, giáo đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát thức, ly cố đạt lạc, tốt chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Namo Sananto Suchero Ye Alahadi San Miao San Puto Xie. Namo Tarakta Toyadaya Alahade Tamyo Tampo Datoa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu sheng 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 wei miao fa. 百千万劫难遭遇，我今见闻得受持愿解如来真实义。All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Jingliang, Venerable YongHua, Venerable Love-Home people, and all good new advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位善知识，阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Hòa thượng Thanh Lương, Hòa thượng Tiến Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. Today is the 10th of April 2021. We are gathered here to continue discussing the preface to the Avatamsaka Sutra, composed by Great Master Jingliang. Okay? All right, let's delve into it. We'll start picking up speed again. The pandemic thing here has been a bother for us the whole year. So now we are hopefully back to normal. That is, working online. All right. All right. Commentary. Let's see. Okay. We're now on slide 183. And the text itself is exhaustively reflecting on its esoteric meaning. How can one but jump for joy? How can one not but jump for joy? There's a not missing. All right. The Avatamsaka Sutra was spoken by Shakyamuni Buddha for the sake of the Bodhisattvas. It's a very exclusive club. Okay, that's what the word esoteric means. Esoteric means it's exclusively for a small group of people. There is knowledge here. This audience here is for a very small group of people, okay? Privileged people, if you will, in our situation. So this, the sutra is very profound in principles. That's why once we listen to this, okay, depending on whatever your level, whether it's low or high, you can exhaustively reflect on its meaning, because the meaning of the sutra here applies to all levels, believe it or not. This is what's so fascinating about Buddhist teachings. The Buddha spoke the sutra, and he spoke it, mind you, to the bodhisattvas. You know how many bodhisattvas out there who listen to his sutra? Countless bodhisattvas, right? Now, what levels are these bodhisattvas? They're from first ground bodhisattva to all the way to equal enlightenment bodhisattva. Okay? That's a wide range. Okay? And amazingly, this sutra here, every single principle applies to all levels of bodhisattvas. Okay? So at each, doesn't matter what level you're at. Can someone act not? How can one not but jump for joy, please? Okay? So you have all these bodhisattvas who were there listening to the lectures, and they all get from the same teaching what they're supposed to get. It applies to all levels. That's what's fascinating about the way the Buddha taught. He said, he spoke the Avatamsaka Sutra, but from his sound, each person, each bodhisattva understood the message that was directed, the Dharma that applied to their own level. All right? So this, yes, granted, this group of bodhisattva is very exclusive. You have to have a certain level of blessings before you're able to hear this sutra. Okay, even in our world, for people to listen to the sutra requires a lot of blessings. I remember people coming to our temple. They come and listen to this once. They may be Buddhists for a long, long time, devout Buddhists from even my master's temple. They listen to this sutra once, okay? And I remember when I spoke sutra for this group of people from my master's temple, I deliberately spoke at a low level. Okay, I'm discriminating. That's why I mean, don't tell people. I discriminate when I look at you as a low level. I better go slow on you. Okay, so even I spoke at a low level, listen to it, and they didn't dare come back. Okay, I'm from my background is that when I hear there's some secrets, some beautiful formulas, some exclusive information, I would come back and wait, stand in line, waiting to get in. No, because this sutra here has such wonderful secrets that is not available to people of the world. Okay? Even the Buddhists are not privy to this knowledge. It's only a small group of people who are privy to this, to access this. Okay? So, it's worth standing in line for. That's how I feel about it. But no, for low people level, they are scared of the sutra. Okay? So if you are able to listen to this sutra, you should be exhaustively reflecting on its meaning, because these meanings here applies to your current level, as well as you improve, the same principles will be clearer to you, and the next level, and the next level. Okay? That's the nature of this sutra's teaching. It's very, very profound. Okay? How can one but not jump for joy? Okay? It's because this is the Buddhist thing. I don't know whether it's Indian or not, but I noticed that the Chinese in the sutras, probably Indian, originated from India, as soon as these people got something cool from the Buddha, they're all jumping for joy. Okay? What is it? What's the Chinese word for that? Yao something. Huh? 掉药, something like that. Okay? So they jumping up and down out of joy. Okay? I think it's probably Indian. It's fair to say because that's what the Buddha said. Is that when Ananda recorded the sutra, he noticed that the people, the disciples who listened to Shakyamuni Buddha's lectures, sutra lectures, they were jumping up and down for joy when the Buddha concluded finished speaking the sutra. So from Indian tradition. So anyway, so that's why when you discover these wonderful secrets about the universe, how can you help yourself but not jump for joy? Okay? So maybe not physically, but inside you feel so elated. You feel like you can be floating on the clouds. Okay? All right. All right. Any questions, comments? Okay. So we need to be grateful to Great Master YongHua for elaborating on this wonderful sutra that until it was his turn, most patriarchs wouldn't dare touch his sutra. It's too difficult. It's too profound. Okay? And so we should be jumping up for joy ourselves. We're able to, for being able to even listen to this sutra. Next, the preface text. Now is the last item number 10 of this preface. The title reads, The Great Means Expensive Buddha Flower Adornment Sutra. That is the general name for inexhaustible sutras.
题称大方广佛华严经者，即无尽修多罗之总名。
All right. Okay. Commentary slide 185. The title reads, so it's the full title of this sutra. Okay, that is the specific title is The Great Means Expensive Buddha Flower Adornment Sutra. Okay, the general name for inexhaustible sutras, meaning that the sutra here is the mother lode. It is the source of all the sutras at all. So it's not surprising that the Buddha, the Shakyamuni Buddha, started by speaking this sutra. Okay, to the people who are able to comprehend it, and after that, as lower level people came around, as when the Shakyamuni Buddha started speaking lower level sutras for the other listeners. Okay, so that's why this sutra here is the mother, is the mother of all the other sutras, not just inexhaustible sutras. So the principle explained in the sutra are inexhaustible. All right. 186. The wondrous adornments of world rulers, the chapter number 1, is a specific heading for one of many sections.
世主妙言品第一者，集众篇异类之别目。
All right, 187. Oh, another one? Still text? Okay. Great is extensive union with no boundaries. Means are proper dharmas personally maintained. Expensive says it fits the substance totality.
大以旷间无际，方以正法自持，广则称体而周。
All right, commentary on 188. Okay, the great master Qingliang expertly explains this sutra because we're looking at the preface, so he only gives us a flavor of what this sutra is about. So that's why our explaining the preface is actually a good thing for us to do a quick survey of what to expect from this sutra. To the title itself carries a meaning. It's great. Great is extensive union with no boundaries. Okay. Tian. Okay. So great. He says great here in the title means extensive union with no boundaries. Okay. My goodness, this is when you appreciate the DRBA for doing such a good job translating this thing into English, because the Chinese has so many different interpretation that you can go for. So so it's nice for us to not have to worry about that. And by the way, we have a group of people who is actually actively translating the preface, which we'll go into after this. Preface translated by the RBA is only door number 1 and 2. Prologue, I'm sorry, the prologue. And the prologue that the DRBA translated was just door number 1 and 2, the 10 doors. And they stop at 2, at 2, because they said that 3 to 10 are very difficult to translate. Okay, and so we have a group of dedicated and devoted people, Chinese people, who are helping us translate this. It's very helpful, and we really appreciate it. Okay, because we're not experts in the language nor in Buddhist theories, so. Whatever translation you can come up with, eventually will get better and better, will be improved. That has always been Master Hsuan position. He doesn't expect to have perfect translation. That is not possible. Okay, only Buddhas can do that. We can't do it. Okay, and so that's why it gives us a chance to look at all these translations, and we add our 2 cents worth. Or what it means. So here, great ta, from a Chinese, great ta, here is, he says, extensive union with no boundaries. Meaning that he's this great here, this sutra here, is a union, okay, of such a vast collection of principles, okay? Buddhist principles. Buddhist principles are as vast as the universe, because the Buddhist principles apply to the universe. The Buddhist principle can explain everything in this universe. That's why the Buddhist principles are supposed to be extensive. Okay? So this sutra is the amalgamation, the collection of all these principles, okay, with no boundaries. Because you collect all the great things, okay? Unlike our mind has boundaries. Yes? Some of you say, I'm Vietnamese, I'm white, I am Mexican, I am bipolar, I am so forth, Korean and so forth. And there you say, in your mind, you have boundaries. The great thing about this sutra is that the more you look into this sutra, the more you investigate this sutra, the more you can let go of your boundaries that you set up in your minds naturally. All right? So this studying this sutra has a way of freeing you from your own shackles. Okay? And so great here says boundless. Okay? Free yourself. And this is interesting to me because when I was practicing in my early years, okay, you sort of have, as typical for you to set a goal, okay, and define as where I came from, what success is, okay. And when you set a goal, you set actually boundaries for yourself, okay. And you say, if I get that, that's success. Then I'll be happy, okay. As I was investigating sutras one after another, and I stumbled upon this Flower Adornment Sutra, and the one thing I noticed immediately freed me from my boundaries. It reminded me, and I'm reminding you right now, it's supposed to happen is when you investigate the sutras, okay? It's a cool thing, okay? Meaning you let go of your limitations in your mind. It's interesting because when you look at yourself, you see how bounded your mind really is. I'm an engineer. I am a professional. I don't do non-professional stuff. I'm a man. I don't do woman stuff. I'm a woman. I'm mean and jealous. Misogynist, am I not? Anyway, there's some truth in there at least. That's all I have to say for my defense. Okay. You see how daring I am? It's suicidal, you ask me. Our audience is primarily women. I'm not making any more friends. All right, so you see, the great thing about the great is that let go of boundaries, okay? Don't limit ourselves. So when you hear great, remind yourself that means are proper dharmas personally maintained. Okay? This is a very eloquent way of saying that means here refers to methods. Okay? Fang is fang fa. Okay? Means refers to methods or Dharma doors. Dharma doors, the Dharma door means method. This is a way for you to get to enlightenment, to get to the Buddha state. All right? Personally maintained. When you practice, okay, all practices, all methods have to be proper. This morning, someone asked, can you become enlightened? Can you become a Buddha without learning Buddhism? And I said the answer was, yes, you can. You don't need to learn Buddhism to become enlightened. Okay? because it's true. Buddhism, as people of the world know it, as these people who ask it, to them is like it's the Avatamsaka Sutra, it is the Shrangama Sutra, it is the Bible to the Catholics and so forth. So the Quran to the Mormons. So these people have these principles, these references. Yes, Q&A.
Hello, Master. I just have some question about the translation for Fang. Do you think there is a meaning other than, like, first translating that to means is a little bit intuitive for me. Like Fang is, the literary meaning is more like square, although because square, and then the Chinese kind of says that the sort of the proper way of doing things is square, so it has the proper annotation. I guess it can also mean Fangfa is more like a method, but just translating that to means, it just seems a little bit weird to me. And also just the whole 3 words, 大方广, to me it sounds kind of more like different aspect of this great vastness and the proper, like they're all adjectives that related to this concept of vastness. It just some comments around how do I see this Chinese.
I agree with you. That's another way to look at it. Okay, the means here refers to, as you said, from a Chinese vocabulary perspective, your interpretations are not incorrect. Okay, however, in terms of English, I don't know if English people, scholars will agree with me. This is more literary to use the word means. Okay, than use the word, let's say, method or squares, or okay. So that's that. Because at times, sometimes you don't want to be too specific. You want to be vague so that there's more room for interpretations.
What about proper?
Fang here refers to methodology, to methods, not proper. And that's why the great Master Jing Liang has to elaborate. The Fang here is Fang Fa, but it's not just method, but it has to be proper methods.
Yeah, proper method. I think it's more like an objective too. In terms of, it's not a noun. It's more like describing the Dharma.
No, you need 大方廣佛華嚴經. Okay, you need a noun right there. I have to disagree with you. You need a ground. You need a noun somewhere, and to choose Fang and translate it as a noun, as a method, as a means is to me it's better. But it still does not detract from the fact that you can look at it as square as well. Okay, so but square here has a Chinese connotation of the guidelines and the conventions and so forth. But actually in Buddhism, the biggest, the highest level of convention is proper. Cause and effect. Okay? Everything in Mahayana is dictated by cause and effect. Okay? It's just like when you do carpentry, you want squares in terms so that the pieces fit together perfectly. Okay? And in Buddhism, it's proper. It's not square. It's proper. All right? So Master Jing Liang here, this is why you see the wisdom of this great master. He says means here, and you may disagree with the translation of the word into the word means, okay? But it has to have a fangfa somewhere. It has to have a method somewhere in this title. This title here is a very important reminder of you that in the spirit of this morning's question, can you become enlightened without Buddhism? Yes, you can, in general. But if you want to become enlightened quicker, you are much better off using Buddhist methodology, because we are specialists in enlightenment. This is all we do, honestly. In Mahayana, if you study Mahayana, it's all for one goal, for you to become enlightened. Nothing else. Nothing else matters. Okay? Do whatever it takes to become enlightened. That's all there is to it. Okay? Because once you understand enlightenment is the biggest prize there is. It's the most worthwhile thing there is in life. It's not about politics. It's not about fame and glory. It's about the big prize. Okay? And so these proper dharmas here, okay, are very important. There's a concept in the Fang. The Fang is that this sutra has so many methods. There are properly, okay, they're proper methods. Okay, so when you properly maintain them, you properly execute them, you properly apply them to your lives, then you get the big prize. He says, I'm revealing to you all the secrets, okay, in Buddhism, in this sutra. I'm not holding back, the Buddha says. Buddhist teachers never hold back. They're never afraid that you surpass them or you become the same as they are. Never. That's proper. Can you see that? That would be improper for a Buddhist teacher to be insecure, to be worried that you surpass them or you are the same as they are. Okay? Then they're no longer exclusive. All right? That's not going to happen. There's always people who who are enlightened. There are always a lot more who are unenlightened. That's the way it is. So if you understand that, there's no need to worry about that you're no longer special. All right? Agree, disagree? It's a good point. Okay, good point that the Chinese connotation of Fang is square. It's excellent. It's very nice to have Chinese-speaking people. Yes, White.
Would that be considered a recommended principle also in life? Like, I notice in work life there are people who are scared to teach others because they're afraid of becoming obsolete in their job. And then there are others that are more generous and they bestow their wisdom to people that are younger. And I like that ideal, but there is that feeling that you could, and people feel nervous about doing that.
Yes, I agree. And I came from that environment as well. You need to maintain a competitive edge. Yes? Otherwise, you become obsolete. Especially when you go into a family-run business, you know, the owner, proprietor, wants you to train their son and their daughters to replace you eventually. It's a scary, scary thing. All right? And people used to scream at me and said, "Why am I training you? You don't know anything. And you sit on my head, on top of me, and then I have to train you so that I'm even less useful to you and to the company. Why should I?" Okay, and that's normal. How do you deal with that? Okay. Yes, musician.
Yeah, I know a lot of musicians who do that sort of thing. Like, oh no, like I'm not going to teach you that. Like, I think it's really lame because, you know, if you teach somebody and they're better than you, then you have more reason to compete and to get stronger. And that's how the world moves forward is people get better, and it creates more competition, and so people have to be more creative and be more inventive. And I think it stifles creativity and stifles a lot of progress if you just hold things back.
Absolutely. Yes, Black, the spy number one. Yeah? So spies come over here. Should we be scared?
Mô Phật và Thầy, nói ngoài đời đó thì nó tranh giành, nó đấu tranh thì có thể ấy, Phật Pháp không có đấu tranh nổi đâu Thầy.
Master, in reality, people can compete, but when we talk about the Dharma, there's no competition.
Okay, true as well. Now what are you doing here? These people talk a lot, They talk. They always, the Chinese people, they sound good. But when you ask them, to look at themselves, why they're doing this, they can't answer you. Here's my point. My point here is, if you're scared to become obsolete, then do something about it. Okay? If you're scared, look at yourself. You're scared that you will teach someone so that they no longer need you, then make yourself useful in other areas. This is why in companies, I remind you in company, in real world, okay, part of you getting promoted is that you're supposed to train the next person to replace you. If the company cannot find someone to replace you and do what you're doing, they cannot promote you. So what you have to do is be willing to train someone to replace you, and at the same time, train yourself, acquire more skills so that you become more important to the company, so that you, in other words, you're making more contributions to the company. That should be the mindset, not like the limited people who says, this is all I have, this is all I know, if I share with you, I have nothing left. Okay? And that's, to me, is rather piss poor way of looking at yourself. Why should you limit yourself like that? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. He says, this is all I've got. You know what? You end up believing yourself, this is all you got. And you live, again, contrary to the Mahayana spirit, you live in fear. You're so fearful to lose. Why are you afraid to lose? You tell me. Hey, you. Yes, let's talk about fear. What are you afraid of? People harming you. People stealing from you. Okay? You should not live in fear. It doesn't make sense for you to be fearful. Do something to get rid of your fears. That is totally unproductive. That is self-defeating. Okay, people? Okay? I don't care who you are. You could be a monk, you could be a lay person, but you don't have to live in fear. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for you, for your teachers and for your boss to still instill this fear in you. Okay? So my answer is that my experience has been, as a monk as well as a lay person, The people who are afraid are actually very limited. So it's understandable they're afraid. You have to embrace the fear. But however, the people who are not fearful are the ones that will ascend, that will be promoted, they will improve. It's your choice. You know, you say, I'm afraid to lose what I have. I'm afraid to be no longer special. You know what? And I feel for you, because your spouse will leave you as well eventually, because you won't evolve anymore. You won't get better anymore. You won't be able to grow with her anymore. I'm trying to find a proper pronoun. You know, everything in life, to me, is fascinating because, interesting because you're growing. Can you see a tree not growing? When a tree doesn't grow, what happens to it? It dies. It shrivels. You want to be like that? No, keep growing. Okay? Does it help? Yes, green.
Musicians these days and who are older, who were in their prime when they were younger, they seem to stagnate really quickly, and they don't seem to grow or make any cool musical innovations. And that was something that always really bothered me, because I always felt like as you get older, you should still try to do better. And you and the older monk and the older people here, they all continue to keep trying harder, and it really inspires me, and I really appreciate that for all the older people who are here.
That's how I look at life. I don't look at life as you getting older, because you can't help it. Damn it. Excuse me. Okay, it's depressing when you think about it. But what are you going to do? You're growing older. What choices do you have? Zilch. Okay? You're growing older, you're getting sicker. So what? Okay? The one thing that you can do is your mind. It can grow limitlessly. The body has limits, but the mind has no limits. This is what is fascinating about Buddhism to me. This is why I'm still here, because my body is getting older, okay? Well, never mind about that. It's still depressing when you think about it, you know? But what's interesting is that when your mind grows, okay, you can transcend the limits of your body. And, you know, my prior life, you know, we said a man has got to know his limitations somewhere, some kind of movie somewhere. You know, a man has got to know his limitations. Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. I love that movie. American movies are so meaningful to me. Anyway, so yes, you got to know your limitations, okay? For what? In order to transcend them. For Dirty Harry, he said, man, I really know his limitation is that you're outreaching, boy, and you're gonna pay. And I'm of the persuasion of when I hear that, I said, then I will break down barriers, okay? What kind of person are you? Okay, so only through Buddhism do I find a way to transcend your own limitations. Okay? So that's why there's no fear. To me, I have no fear at all about sharing with you what I know. Okay, there's another reason for it, a very important reason. You know, there are some consequences of you, that bad things happen to you if you hold back. What kind of consequences? If I hold back on you, because I fear that you will be better than me, or you know everything I know, okay, there's some consequences. It's well documented in Buddhism. What kind of consequences? You become stupid. In the story of Buddhism, the sages who refuse to share their knowledge and their wisdom actually regress. Why would you do that to yourself? So instead of worrying about others, you worry about yourself. Okay? Instead of worrying that others will surpass you, you worry about yourself, continuing to maintain a distance between you and them. How's that? Okay? So, I think that's where Buddhism can help society in that sense. That's why I said that to me personally, I'm not worried about the Chinese stealing secrets from us at all. I'm not. Or the Vietnamese, or or the North Koreans. Is it South or North? The one who steals secrets. Okay? I'm not worried about that at all. Okay? Yes, eventually some get stolen. I'm not worried that spies come to us from the church. From other places. Steal all you can. It's okay. Because what happens is that when I give to you, you come and I give it to you freely, I get blessings. If you come and you steal from me, and I'm against it, I get no blessings at all. I'm losing blessings. Does it make sense to you? You come and I give it to you freely. Here, have a bowl of rice. Here, have some food. I give it to you freely. I'm accruing my blessings. Okay? And if you come and you steal from me and say, no, don't steal from me, then I'm not creating any new blessings at all. That's self-defeating. You see? So spies, come. I'm not afraid of you. Huh? Spy number 2 here, speaking of spies. He just walked in. The timing is perfect. These people have a sense, the spies have a sense, a acute sense of timing. It's beautiful. That's why they're spies. So the point here is, I'm not worried about people coming to steal. I'd rather give them freely. That's what you want to know? I tell you. No problem. That I'm creating blessings. And in turn, if it happens what I give them, help them become enlightened, it's my blessings too. So you're gaining by giving away freely. And you don't gain when you're afraid. Okay? And my personal fun is to create, is to contribute, to add more, and to make things grow. That's much more interesting than worrying about, then maintaining the status quo. Our mind is designed to grow, not to be restricted. Okay, so I'm not worried about people stealing, whether it's wherever they are in the world, coming and steal from us. My interest is to train your mind. Okay, our minds in particular. That's why, that's one of the reasons why I work hard to protect Silicon Valley, to protect LA, because we are the 5th largest economy in the world. We are producing, we're very productive as a state because of brain power. That's what I'm interested in doing, developing the brain power, not worrying about, losing someday, go back to China, go back to Vietnam, go back to Taiwan, so forth. Oh, we need to go back. We're helping the Taiwanese economy. What's wrong with that? Okay? We have enough. We have no fear. We go back to China. Yeah, get some secrets back. It's okay. We make new ones. We create new ones, even better ones. Okay? So my interest is to unleash the power of your minds, the minds of the people in this country. Okay, wherever we are, my fun is to unleash your limitless minds. I'm not worried about, thieves or spies and so forth. Okay? It's too petty to worry about that. Okay? Be constructive. All right? So that's our contribution to the world, is to make advances in the human's knowledge. Okay? To create more. And the scientists, by the way, the greater inventions are made by people who are in the 30s, I'm told. Einstein came up with his relativity theory when he was around his 32, 34. And after that, he basically was coasting. Okay? To me, he died at what age? 80 years old? So around 50 years of his life, 40 years of his life, is not that productive. If you have that kind of mindset, you produce something at the age of 30, I feel you should continue to keep creating until the day you die. Why should you stop? However, humankind is limited by the brains. Human mind is self-defeating, whereas Buddhist minds are not. Because our minds actually are growing. Our gray matter actually is expanding. We have more wiring up there. Okay? That's actually what happens when you improve. When you improve, your gray matter becomes denser, the neuron network becomes more extensive. It physically happens. It's for real. Okay, so I really believe that if Einstein were Buddhist and not Christian or Catholic, was Einstein Catholic? Anyone knows? Huh? He's Jewish? Oh yeah, excuse me. So insensitive of me. He's Jewish, right? If he were Buddhist, I would believe that he would have continued to become productive. So that's what my challenge to Silicon Valley and maybe someday New Yorkers who do the financial markets for us, that you guys should continue to create, to invent. That's fun. You too.
Tian Guo asks, Master, how do you go from human mind to Buddhist mind and maintain it?
Well, I'm glad you asked. One of the first things that you should do is become Buddhist. You know? Huh? No, I'm kidding. Don't become Buddhist. We're very selective. Too late anyway. You make me ask more than twice, I'm not interested anymore. How do you unleash the power of your mind? San Jose has probably the answer.
I don't have an answer. I have a question. Master, you were saying about keep creating Silicon Valley, but as someone who has worked here for 15 years and know a lot of people working on all the major companies here, I'm not quite sure the creations here are that beneficial, right, to the society. I don't know if we're really doing a lot good. So I'm not personally not very inspired to say that let's do more of this creation as we are doing now. So maybe I'm depressed, but
Maybe you don't have the big picture yet. You cannot look at. You have to look at the big picture. It takes, of all of us, 300 million people in this country. How many Master Shenhuas are there? Only one. We look at China, okay, close to, what is it? What do they have now? 2 billion people? They multiply or they stop? They've stopped, right? Anyway, 1.3 billion people. Okay? How many Master Shenhuas are there? One. See that? And that one person right there, in my humble opinion, is revolutionizing the world. What he did for our world cannot be measured yet. We'll never be able to measure it. That's what great bodhisattvas do. They give to us and we have no clues. Okay? My point being that, it's not about what you can see. It's about in your hearts. If in your heart, I can't, just like this person here, I can't point out to you where you should measure. It's not like you can measure your height and make Kim Dean grow taller tomorrow. That's not possible. No matter how much I love her, I'm glad to see you, okay? But it's not gonna happen, okay? So what we can make happen is for our heart to grow bigger. That's all we can do. The height, we can't do anything about it. You got the point? The point being that of all the mess we have here, if you look at Wei Mountain Temple, most people say it's chaotic, it's very stressful, it's like a madhouse, okay? But every now and then, we do something good, okay? Why? Because someone has in his or her heart to say, I'm going to do something good no matter what, okay? And sometimes that's enough. My master, Master Shenhua, left so much goodness behind him. And this is, to me, this is why it is annoying to me that my generation, my peers, don't see the goodness in his heart. All we have to do in our generation for the good that my Chinese teacher brought to the West since the 1960s. All we have to do in my generation is to match the size of his heart. Then we should be proud of it. That's enough. So the goodness, the invention, the creation is not necessarily measurable as the way you measure the number of compositions or the number of Eiffel Towers, okay? And because those will be destroyed. But what remains is a goodness in your heart. That's why I still see it in my teachers. His heart is so big that it casts such a giant shadow. His heart. I'm not talking about his body. His body is very short. Did I tell you that? My Chinese teacher is very, very short. But his heart is huge. Okay, and we're still all living in the shadows of his heart alone. Okay, so what's the point in counting the bitcoins or the dollars or the wands or the piasters and so forth? Okay, those are gone. Those are replaceable. The heart is not. There's a heart from Beethoven, from Bach, that talk to us, not their minds. Agree or disagree? Beethoven's heart is so big. He kept on creating. When he was going deaf, he's still creating, and then he would, get down to his piano on the piano and hit the thing so that he could see hear the vibrations. He couldn't hear anymore. That's the heart right there to me. It's not his sonatas. It's not his music. It's his heart that finally came across as a sonata. It's Chopin's beautiful mind that creates his nocturnes, that will elevate your heart and make you so excited, make you feel so vibrant, so alive, so romantic, if you will, so inspired. That is what matters. The Eiffel Tower will be gone. Who cares after that? People of the world measure in terms of the wonders of the world and measure in terms of the size of your heart. The goodness you leave behind in the world. That's what matters. God is a very good person. Well, good God. Okay? That's why he's so popular. He really cares. You compare the size of his heart versus mine, for example. He has 1 billion followers. He cares for 1 billion people. I would go crazy if I have 1 billion followers. I say, I have to help you? Really? Go back to where you came from. See, it's the heart. That's why these great things happen, because of the heart of God, the heart of Gandhi, who changed India. Yes? And after that, he has no successor. That's why India now is declining again. Does it help? So if you at the company say, I'm not really doing anything good, you can't not do everything good 24 hours a day. Your mind can't grow 24 hours a day. Okay? It takes time. And that's why that company, her company, I used to love it because I saw the hearts of those people, those founders. They have hearts. They have ideals. Now it's becoming commercialized. And I hope that one of the contribution might be that, that let the greater number of people continue to make money, but then nurture a small group of people who will go for the next inventions. Okay? We can't all invent. Then if you can all invent, there's no need for Beethoven, there's no need for Bach, no need for Wagner, no need for Clint Eastwood. Dirty Harry. Does it help? Okay. So the one thing that's constant is that, don't get me wrong, when I said I'm not worried about being stolen from the spies and so forth. It's just things. They can only steal things. They cannot steal our hearts. Okay? It's the good hearts that really are beneficial to society, to civilizations, not pyramids, not wonders of the world. Those are some measurements. Okay? And another aspect of inventions is, and most people of the world don't realize it, is what? I challenge you to tell me the reason. This is very important. This is why your vision of the world is so lopsided. This is why you're so unhappy. That's why you're so fearful. This is why you're so worried. This is why that Jumi hates people. Why? You have to have inventions, and then what else do you have? It takes two to tango. You can't, part of the beauty of tango is that you have a partner. And together, you are you're creating something wonderful. What is that? Yes. Green.
You need the inventions, and you need the people to use the inventions.
That's right. You need the people who deserve to benefit from those inventions. You're creating something good. And on one hand, you're doing something good for society. And on the other hand, the rest of society is a bunch of wackos, drug addicts, loafers, leeches. You think they deserve to benefit from the inventions? They don't have the blessings to benefit from the inventions. So you need to have invention, you need to have creations from the goodness of your heart, and you have the goodness of your heart to be able to benefit from it. Because if you have the creation from your good hearts, and over here you only have demons, you have ghosts, you have Ikea people, okay? This is not going to happen. So you can't say that, I need to create. You do your stuff. And when society is good enough, is virtuous enough, there will be a match. See, the governments only see, politicians only see one side of the equation. They don't see the other side I just told you about. The people have to be worthy of it. Otherwise, they can't benefit from it. Okay? Yes, go first.
I think, Master, you explained a lot about the good hearts, and early on you were saying you were talking about brain powers. So I guess the point I was trying to ask is, I mean, your explanation helped a lot. I think I was just thinking about a lot of those smart people are not really inventing good things, and even the directions are pretty misguided from what I see. And then you just talk about the match. I think maybe all the inventions are not necessarily good or bad. It depends on how people use it.
Use them, yes.
Right, like iPhone or internet, they have a lot of, they can let us having those remote Dharma sessions, but they also create a lot of troubles for people getting addicted and then doing all kinds of bad things. It's it's not necessarily good or bad.
And that's why part of the things that can be done in a company, to me, is that you change people's hearts. Okay? Make them better. Make them more generous. Make them more wholesome. So you have the environment is there already. They don't have to worry like most of us have to worry about making ends meet, paying for the mortgage, paying for this and paying for that. It's very hard for over half of the population. Okay, it's a struggle. Life is a struggle. Paying mortgage, expenses, replacing the roof. But and when you don't have those types of basic worries, basic needs that you need to worry about, then that's when it's easier for you to develop your heart. And that's why I cringed a little bit when I saw the change of leadership. The current CEO is pretty impressive, very efficient, very smart, and a proven track record. But I don't see a good heart. That's what worries me. Okay? I saw good hearts in the previous executives. Okay? Now it's all profit motives. That, to me, it's too bad. But that's the way. That's how companies evolve. When the leaders' heart are no longer big, like I see in the executives in GM, in IBM. The founders of IBM used to have a big hearts. Now the people that I hire, especially the last woman in charge, when I saw and I heard that I was working for IBM, that's why I had a passing interest in that company. That's when I heard that they hired her as the next CEO back then, years ago. I said, oh my God, that's it. This woman has no vision. She's just a politician. And sure enough, IBM is declining for all these years. Yes, White.
Master, you're describing perfectly what's happening in my company right now. In the past year, the whole executive team has switched, and they're like that. There's no heart. It's all very hard, micromanaging and pushing, and
numbers.
As a result,
people are not numbers.
We've lost half the people in our department in the past year, and we don't know if our department will even continue.
Yeah. So that's you. I was interested in how to grow companies, and I studied companies and saw how they grow. You need vision, you need management skills, you need luck and all those things, money and investors and so forth. But the one thing that most MBA programs cannot teach you, because they don't have it, because professors don't have it. Professors at universities, great universities, they don't have hearts. That's why they can't teach it. Okay? Yeah. That's what matters to you ultimately, folks. We're not talking about words. We're not talking about concepts. We're talking about reality. Okay? Whatever you do right now, okay, you should be growing your heart, because that's what you're creating blessings with. Okay? Don't use your smarts to destroy yourself. Please. Like, the executives who are too smart, they're squeezing profits left and right. That's why the numbers are good, and they get more for their more remuneration, more more stock options, so forth. They become rich and so forth. But they're not necessarily good for them. They're getting divorced. Their children hate them because they never spend enough time with them. They don't even know their own children. That the wives are bored. Okay. They all become an alcoholic, and so forth. You have to look at the big picture. These people in my world are so specialized. They only specialize in making money. Specialized politicians specialize in getting more power. But none of them understands the importance of the hearts. Because that's what's important to you. That's what matters. The money doesn't matter. When you die, in 10 years, 20 years, whether you leave behind a lot of money or not, does it really matter? Your children will still move on. They still live on. They have their own lives. And you miss the opportunity of doing something for yourself that you can use the rest of time, rest of eternity. Don't be so short-sighted. Okay? We're not talking about getting a lot of people to buy into this and vote with your $5 or $10 contribution. It adds up. Okay? We're talking about the people with the vision, the people who understands, who have wisdom. Okay? That's the elite I'm talking about. I'm not talking about rich people. I'm not talking about smart people. I'm talking about good people. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be a communist. You can be a Putinist. Okay? You can be Uncle Kim Jong-un's relatives. It doesn't matter. Okay? You keep on growing your heart. That's what matters, ultimately. Yes, Q&A.
Master, why do we compete and try to get better if not out of fear? And if we can get better without competing, is competition necessary?
Repeat that, please.
Master, why do we compete and try to get better if not out of fear of being surpassed? Is competition necessary to get better at something?
Yes, absolutely. You need a little bit of a spur, okay, to motivate yourself. But you should not lose sight of why you're doing this. Because what happens to ordinary people is that, I don't know about you, I grew up in my Vietnamese environment where, especially my family, we're supposed to be achievers. Okay, you're not an overachiever, you're a loser. Okay, you're not good enough. Okay, especially my classmates in high school. Okay, you're not an overachiever, we don't talk to you. Okay, so, and it's funny, after all these years, now they're retiring and they're considering me to be a success. I said, finally, I'm getting some recognition. 25 years ago, they looked at me as a loser. He can't handle it out there. So now he's, he has to hide and run away from. Can you get that something? You see, you need to be more customer service oriented. They're heating up. It's getting hot. Yeah. She's getting a tan. Okay? You don't force it. You just go to them. Come on, girls and boys. Go to them quickly, quietly and say, would you like me to draw a shade or something like that? Give them an option. Okay? Or give them a fan. It's very hot. Yeah. I'm getting hot. All these questions are... I'm not getting my point across. Where were we? Oh, good Lord. Yes. White.
Master, it's very painful to be a person who's trying to grow your heart when this kind of greed and hard management is all around. And I keep wanting to inspire my colleagues, and it's hard because they're so frightened right now and angry.
All right, yeah. That's a fair point. However, don't worry about your colleagues. It's like the question earlier. My company, I don't see anything we're doing good. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about your colleagues. Worry about your heart growing bigger. It rubs off on others. Okay? Again, we're not talking billions of people. That's God's jobs. We're not doing His work. We're worried about a handful of people who believe in growing their hearts. And if they do that, it rubs off the family, the friends. We're thinking very small, very humble. Okay? And we're not trying to have a revolution here. Okay? Because the flip side of it as well is that these people don't have what it takes. I went to that company, and after several attempts, I said, these people don't have it. Okay? I approach it wrong. You cannot force feed a baby. You have to go baby steps. Something, my approach is wrong. Instead of going from bottom up, it should be from the top down. Okay, and you start with one department, 2 departments, 1 division. You don't worry about the bottom feeders. They're not good enough. Okay, don't worry about them. Okay, you just worry about becoming a better person yourself, and better and bigger heart. That's all that matters. Okay, don't worry about worldly measurements. How many books did you produce? How many symphonies did you write? No, you worry about your heart. And when it's time, you do that. You create. And if it's not enough, you come back and keep creating. Or you go to the Pure Land, create in the Pure Land. And then you bring all the creations back later. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. The one thing that will transcend time and space is your heart. All right, can we move on? I think the Koreans are getting bored. They want something more concrete, like Taekwondo Uchubi. Okay, they're all falling asleep in Korea. Oh my God, this is too early for us. Okay, so going back to slide 188. The methods, the means are the proper methods. Okay? In deference to the good work that the RBA has put in translating this very difficult section of the text, because this great Bodhisattva here, I mean, he's teaching very profound. It's not possible to translate it accurately. Okay, so I would settle for means myself. Okay, but you need to elaborate. That's why we need to study the preface. It says the master says it's means here is the proper dharmas, meaning the methods, okay, that are consistent with the law of cause and effect. The proper methods will bring you there. But the proper methods are the best things, the best route you can go for yourself. And you must personally maintain it. 自持 is that you yourself have to apply them. You see, understand, and I admit to you, my English is rather coarse. The proper word way to maintain, but I look at it as maintain is from the Chinese word 持. Okay, maintain here is that basically you have to apply in your life. It's not about maintain. You have to use them. Okay, if you know that what matters is not about money, not about fame, it's about how good your heart is. Because if your heart is good, everything you do is good. Your heart has some obscure parts in your heart that's mean, that is discompassionate, that is angry, that is selfish. Okay? It will reflect in your actions. That's what matters. Okay? So if you understand that, then you reflect upon yourself. You said, am I doing this? If I know it's a good thing, it's a proper way of doing it, okay, then I better stick to it. I better adhere to these guidelines. That's not do anything bad. That's stop all the evil part in our hearts. Yes, our hearts has evil in it. Ask the spies. We call them spies for a reason. Huh? Okay? So, it's not just the spies, but us as well. I admit to you, I have very little compassion for bad people. Okay? No compassion, actually. Okay? So that part, that's a dark corner in my heart that I need to work on. Okay? Instead of worrying about other people are not good enough, other people are stealing from me, other people are harming others and so forth, I worry about my heart. Does it help? Okay, so you have to maintain it. You have to utilize the superior knowledge, the superior approach. Not just talk about it as, this is Mahayana, superior proper Dharma, the proper means. No, you quietly apply it to yourself so that your heart grows. All right? So that's what 自持 means. It's very important. This fang here, the square is useless unless you apply it. You know about it. You better utilize it. It's the superior methods in Mahayana are very intellectually stimulating. But you know what? What's much more interesting is how to apply them in our lives. It's much more fun, much more insightful. It's not just words. You find out how difficult it is to be good when someone insults you, when someone steals from you, when someone tries to harm you. Very, very difficult. It's no longer a concept. It's no longer a mental construct. It is a call for action. What do you do? Is it proper to do that? It's a different dimension from just knowing. This is why this great monk here says, now I tell you, Mahayana, this Dharma is here in the Avatamsaka Sutra. Are you going to apply them or not? That's what he's saying in a Chinese way. Are you going to become Buddhist or not? You know what I mean? Expensive says it fits the substance totality. Guang. Expensive is guang in Chinese. Guang is, okay, spreads out. Okay, so it's funny. I keep on talking about heart, but that's exactly what it is. The heart is so big, it expands, expands, expands. Okay? The goodness expands, not the Navy, not the Army, not the rockets. Okay? What matters, what you want to expand, is your heart. Okay? Why? Because this expansive heart fits your true nature. Your true heart is that limitless. Your true heart has infinite goodness. In Vietnam, by the way, in my era, for spies, we have a program called Chiêu Hội. You can renounce your spyhood and turn towards the good. So for that, in honor of that thing, would you like to change camp? They get abused by me every week. So funny. Anyway, so I take it back. The door is closed. Hesitated too long. Okay, so this expansive here, it is the heart that expands, and grows bigger. Okay, expansive, unfortunately, in Chinese only means horizontally. Guang is horizontally. Okay, Guang here is two-dimension. Okay, it has it lacks a third dimension called height. Something about Chinese people, they're not very tall. So, Vietnamese. So the Guang here, the expansive here, is in Chinese basically means two-dimensional. But the connotation here is not two-dimensional. Again, I need to remind you, expansive here means the heart. Your heart expands, okay? Okay, and keep on expanding. That's what the sutra is about. It helps your heart expand. And when it expands, it keeps on expanding to the point where it matches your substance totality. Isn't it beautiful? I don't know what we ate today for lunch, but somehow that food inspired me to talk about the size of the heart. Okay? It's not as crowded of a lunch crowd. Let me remind you, people are still scared of the COVID-19. So, lunch hall is very, very modest. Okay? We practice social distancing in our own way. Yes. But the point here is that this heart here is a symbol. There's a concept I want you to have that symbolizes that you can understand better than your Buddha nature. Your substance is your heart. It's not something, abstract. No, it's the size of your heart, that substance. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That's you defy aging. That's how you defy death. That's how you realize your potential. Your potential. No one else's. Not your company. Your potential. And as you do that, the people near you will benefit from it. That's all. All right? So the substance totality here is the substance refers to your Buddha nature. Our substance, every one of us, no matter who we are, okay, short, tall, different sexualities, different genders, different height, okay, we all share this Buddha nature substance. And by practicing Mahayana, by investigating this sutra here, we get a better understanding of what it is, what it looks like. Okay? That's why it's called expensive. Keep in mind, the substance, your Buddha nature, is expensive. It expands like our universe. The universe does not shrink, by the way. Okay? The universe is like our Earth. Because of climate change, okay, the water body is expanding, okay? Keep expanding. All right? Questions or comments? All right. Next, 189. Oh, we still have a few more minutes. Buddha is awakened to this mysterious wonder. Flower stands for virtues from the myriad conducts, adornment, decorative dharmas on the accomplished person.
佛谓觉思玄妙，华育功德万恨，言为世法成人。
This monk here explained his title so beautifully. Don't you love his intellect? Huh? He's very intellectual, this monk. This goes to prove to you that after you become enlightened, you become more intellectual, not less intellectual. So you, scholars, shouldn't be afraid to be of enlightenment. Okay? You get better. You become smarter. You become more scholarly. Become more intellectual. Why would you settle with just a degree and a professorship and a tenureship and you become a full professor and a emeritus professor and so forth? You are still limiting yourself, professors. That's not Mahayana. If your mind is like that, I'm sorry. Big shot professors, you don't understand Mahayana. You're not applying to yourself. That's why you don't understand. That's a proof. You don't understand, that's why you can't apply to yourself. Unlike you people who are not professors, except for one, well, one X1, okay? You, even though you're not professors, but you're not afraid. You are expanding your hearts. That's the only way for you to hang on, to continue to go to this lecture. Because I tell you this, you continue to come to these lectures, you have no choice, your heart will expand. Guaranteed. And the day that you stop coming, that's when you start shrinking. Then your life, you become miserable. You say, my life has nothing else to look forward to. I used to be able to come to the temple or tune in on weekend afternoons and, and free myself from my limitations in my heart, of my petty self. I really have nothing else to look forward to except make more money and find more love. Okay. Buddha, 190. Buddha is awakened to this mysterious wonder. Okay? He is so accurate. He says, hey guys, Buddha knows because he's awakened to all this wonder, meaning that we're not awakened to the wonder yet. What's German for wonderful? Wunderbar, right? I remember vaguely. Wunderbar. I only know a few German words. Sieg Heiler! Sieg Heil! So forth. Wunderbar, right? Wunderbar. Wonderful. Hey boy, what's wonderful? What's wonderful? Didn't learn that word? Wonderful. Oh, no, never mind. Look it up. You guys are lazy. Google. Wonderful in German. Jeez. Contribute instead of just being a user. Contribute. Q&A.
Just some comment on the translation. I think it's not exactly correct in the sense that it should be more like Buddha refers to one who is awakened to this mysterious wonder. It's trying to say Buddha, that's the definition of Buddha, rather than just say Buddha is. Because way means that.
Yeah.
It's referring.
Right, that's correct. See, the Chinese, that's very good. That's excellent. You see, you're contributing. That's very good. No, let me explain to you your Chinese for you. Wei here, so wei. It's not wei, it's so wei. That's why this translation is very good. It's more active. In English, you translate that this is much more active translation instead of passive. I don't know how else to characterize it. Okay, for so wei. Okay, so it actually they dropped so. Okay, I like it. So I like this translation. That's why they did a good job. You know, for them to come up with this phrase here, is awakened to this mysterious wonder. Okay, I assure you, they went through months. Okay, they talked about so wei, and they talk about wei, and talk about all these things, and they finally. This is I wasn't there, but this is my version of it, of this movie. They finally decided this is a better translation. I agree with them. So wei, okay, meaning this Buddha here is talking about awakened to this mysterious wonder. So is okay. Agree or disagree? You English majors. We have a Chinese person. How about English person? White people. Okay, so it's very, very dynamic. He says, Buddha, in this title here, refers to a state of being awakened to this mysterious, profound, mystical wonder. And that's why you cannot blame, by the way, I make fun of the Chinese, but you cannot blame the Chinese for being abstract because it's by design, if you will. When you look at the Chinese language, it's abstract. It carries multiple meanings, just like in Sanskrit. It's very abstract. It carries multiple meanings, Sanskrit. That's why it's conducive to being translated into Chinese. However, to translate the Chinese to English, just like this particular point here that was made earlier about the interpretation of this phrase here, okay, shows that the limitation of our English language is too precise. Okay, so all we can do is provide the best possible translation and then have the lecturer elaborate more on this. So children, you have work to do when it's your turn to lecture, because all these translations carry multiple meanings. And we have to settle on one for now. Okay? So this Xuan here is not just mysterious. Actually, it also has connotation of mystical. Again, that's why the Chinese are so abstract, because the abstract language would appeal to a broader audience, including the uninformed people nowadays. You see how beautiful it is. For us English-speaking people, I can simply say, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? I'm referring only to the profound meaning of those phrases. But in Chinese, when the Chinese say, 佛为觉师, is it qi or shi? 为师玄妙, it also carries the idiotic or the shallow interpretation of the Chinese nowadays. That's why it's so beautiful in a sense. You know, the Chinese, they may not understand right now what it means, but the seeds are there for them to understand it more deeply in the future. If we commit to one translation like we do here, okay, we try, in my humble opinion, my opinion, we need to try to choose the thing that has the deepest, that can go the furthest in a similar way, similar vein, okay? And so, but you see, I criticize the Chinese nowadays for not being able to understand the depth of their own language, Buddhist sutras anymore, the Chinese Tripitaka anymore, okay? But on the other hand, you have to admire the beauty of and the depth of that Chinese Tripitaka, that even though they don't understand, okay? Compare them. If you compare the Chinese words, Chinese characters versus the English translation, I will assure you the Chinese phrases are deeper than our English translation. That's why their seeds are still pretty damn good compared to ours. You have to give them credit for that, okay? Do not ever look down upon them. Their seats are excellent, okay? They're broader, they're deeper, higher quality than our English seats. So be humble, okay? The difference is that we can get there sooner than they do. Here's why. Can we be blunt? Is it okay? What the heck, huh? What the heck? Okay. Because the Chinese, they have, the language is deeper than ours. But their understanding is much more shallow than ours. So far, so good. When we translate that into English, okay, and we explain it to you, the Chinese, they cannot explain that. English, we may be shallower translation, but we translate it for you, and we explain it for you, for what purpose? In order for you to become enlightened. Then, has always been my plan, and I refer you back to the Chinese text to rediscover the totality of the Chinese depth that we don't have in English. Does it make sense? So we get there sooner than they do, because they walk around thinking they know more than we do. They don't. Not now, not in the future. So different approaches. We have to make do what we have. Okay? The Chinese have got it made, okay? But they lost the connection. We have the connection, so we have to open our wisdom first and go back to the Chinese and get the rest of the depth. And we cannot translate. Does it help? So I urge you, disciples, to learn Chinese. Because you then, when it's your time, you can go back and fill in the things I could not translate for you. Because I don't understand. All right? Okay, the rest I cannot finish in 2 minutes. The next bullet on page 190 is too involved. We cannot finish it that quickly. Any questions or comments? This is wonderful, no? Yes, White.
I was curious, the Chinese symbols seem to have so much depth to them and they're so poetic. I was wondering, was that language somehow created by sages, the symbols, or there seems to be something of higher caliber there than our characters?
Absolutely. It turns out, and the Chinese can help me more, and they know more than I do here. The Chinese language is a pictogram. They draw pictures, and they have this famous saying, picture paints 1,000 words. Okay? So one character is a picture, and they simplified it more and more over time. Now they simplified it too much. They lost it. Okay? They lost the original intent of the language is to draw. Okay? The rest of the language of the world is basically alphabets and so forth. The Chinese language is drawings. It's infinite interpretations. Okay? Cool. Yes, Q&A.
I can just offer some cultural comments when Master is done. But that's important. Yes, I think Master explained this before too. Master YongHua said also said it's also in the stories that the language was created by sages and I think Bodhisattva, and then just in the culture there's a big reverence to the language, to the characters. Like in the ancient times, not even so ancient, you can still see those in the countryside where there's something like an altar for people to burn their not used papers. So you're not supposed to just throw away papers with words on it. They're considered sacred in some ways. And then when you're done with them, you actually burn them and to kind of discard them properly. That's one example of how people really respect words and then culture and then education, I think, all kind of reflected there.
Mm-hmm. Right. Thank you for the contribution. Very good. Yeah, yes. It's created by sages. That's why I remember when Master YongHua saying that as well. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, it is created by sages, but it's a mark of the depth of wisdom, because some part of the Mahayana teaching is to tell you enough for you to open your wisdom, then you can see the rest. So it has to be contained in a language, if you will. Language has to be able to point you there, and then you can see the rest yourself in the picture. So it's beautiful. We don't have that. We sacrifice that for the sake of simplicity and clarity. Okay? But we do what we can. Okay? Part of our American culture is not limited to English. Agree or disagree? Okay? We love to learn languages. We love to learn Latin. We love to learn Sanskrit. We have to learn Greek, whatever. Okay? It's because it's part of human culture. Every culture has its strengths and weaknesses. Okay? And I remind you again, the depth of Mahayana is in a Chinese canon, not English. That's what they have over us right now. And we need to steal it from them. If you need to spy and steal, go for the big thing. Don't go for, COVID-19 vaccines, data, chip creation. Because you steal my chip design, I will come up with a better one next week, next month, next year. Okay? And you have to steal from me again. Okay? But, I think the one thing they have that we need to steal from is Chinese Buddhist canon. Seriously. So, if any of you want to sign up for it, see Xian later. Okay? If I want to decide to steal anything at all in this world, it's going to be the Chinese Buddhist canon. Trust me. I would steal. I would kill for it. All right? Okay, thank you everyone. How do we get into stealing and killing and spying and all those things? Okay, rebirth transference. Thank you.